has almost become automatic. Glitches where they exist, even yesterday when I was sitting with the tax administrators, I very clearly said the refund should be going through as a process, free flow. But if there are obstructions to it, we are very clearly, even tomorrow I'll be holding a meeting with, tomorrow Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, I'm holding a meeting with the GSTN people to make sure and identify as to where the glitches are in terms of flow of refund, so that it doesn't affect people. And if we think that the system is being gamed, or if there are tweakings manually being done, I am assured that we shall take action against anyone who's gaming the system. That's as regards the refund process for the GST simplification. And then finally, repeating one other thing which I mentioned along with the faceless scrutiny, is risk-based approach is being taken in dealing with the taxpayers, where there is high risk, where there is suspicion based on ground factual records. Action will be furthered rather than approaching everybody with a fishing expedition, as it were. So there are simplifications being done in the taxation. Labor laws, I'll just very quickly go through, because you know fixed term employment has been facilitated so that there will be flexibility in hiring. Contribution to the ESIC has also been reduced to 4% from 6.5%. Web-based jurisdiction-free inspections are happening. Inspection report to be uploaded within 48 hours. So there shall not be any delay, and this is enabled already. And offences, again a very important point from the point of view of how we are approaching ease of doing business. Compounding of offences will be the priority, no other prosecution-based actions, and self-certification, which I've already said. Environment clearances, there is a single air and water clearance for MSMEs, single consent to establish a factory for MSMEs, so it's actually moving towards greater simplification and doing of business. Then corporate affairs, I just want to very quickly draw you to say that these are ongoing endeavors. We've not forgotten. I just want to draw the attention of the House before I move on to specifics, which I've already told you, 6 different headings in which I will give you my inputs. You can see that one day to incorporate a company is what is now the norm rather than an exception. Integrated incorporation forms are available. Shifting of 16 offence sections to monetary penalty has happened. So the angle that this government is going to harass people, or this government is more inclined to go through prosecution, is being disproved in every case that we've taken up. In every case, meaning in every act-related or rule-related position, we are more in favor of compounding of an offence, and where penalty can play the role, it is penalty rather than prosecution. This is the second example where we can tell you 16 such offence sections have all been taken as monetary penalty based rather than prosecution based. Faster and easier approvals are being given for mergers and acquisition, some of which I'll explain further. Modifications and provisions for differential voting rights, about which I'm very grateful to the media. A lot of you all have written about it as to how that will bring in a certain sense of ownership for the people who founded the companies, and that will give them the right to retain their control of their own companies. Withdrawal of over 1,400 prosecutions under Companies Act. Again, a point where I want media, I'm very grateful that you've been writing about it. We are inclined to move from the prosecution route to more humane approach. Repeatedly examples before you to prove that, and therefore I would want to request companies and also media to see that the intention of this government at no point wants to pursue anything in the name of prosecution. Here are the examples concrete, which is not happening today, but over the last few weeks, we can very clearly tell you that that's the kind of step that we've taken. The IBC framework, all of you are very familiar. Even as the budget session was going on, even as all of us were focusing on budget-related matters, because of the way in which certain interpretations were given by some authorities and tribunals, we had to go through very quickly amending the IBC just so that no anomalies existed, and that has as much as possible we can get information that has benefited the MSMEs and home buyers. We shall ensure that we keep going in that route. So with this backdrop, I now go over to my first silo, which relates to respecting and honoring wealth creators. CSR violations, about which all of us have been hearing, not to be treated as criminal offense and would instead be a civil liability. Ministry of Corporate Affairs will review the sections under Companies Act. Government has provided companies through revised orders time for completing ongoing projects towards fulfilling their CSR obligations. So every doubt that was prevailing outside, I would want to dispel it today, that there is no intention of the government to go on the prosecution route. CSR will only be treated as a civil matter and not at all as a criminal matter. The second point there in my first silo is issue of IT orders, notices, summons, letters, etc. shall now go through a centralized system.